What is up, everyone? My name is Jack Saffel, back again with another video, and today I'm here with my WWE Monday Night Raw review for August the 1st, 2016. And you know what? I generally enjoyed the show, man. This was very, very fun. Not as extravagant as what last week's episode was, but still, this was a very good quality show with a lot of stuff leading into SummerSlam. So let's not muck around. Let's get straight into the show. We started off with a last week on Monday Night Raw kind of thing, which I thought was kind of cool. So we open up the show with Sasha Banks. She comes out pretty much, and crowd's going crazy. You deserve it chants, the whole 9 yards, pretty much thanking everyone that's got her to this bit. And then Charlotte comes out, of course, to interrupt her. And so Sasha asks, why she tapped out or whatever. Charlotte says, there was a fly in the ring, which I thought was quite funny. And then they were having a bit of banter back and forth. And then Sasha hits... Charlotte says to Sasha, your little reign is just a one-night stand. And then Sasha comes back with this absolute roast and pretty much says to her, well, you are the daughter of Ric Flair, and if it wasn't for him, you probably wouldn't be here right now. So, shit, that was a bit of a roast and a half right there. And then we hear quiet from Chris Jericho. He walks out for some reason, and we're like, what the hell does he want? And he pretty much calls Sasha Banks a little punk, and how Charlotte's much better than her and all that, and pretty much saying, who has Ric Flair ever beat, and pretty much saying that Charlotte has outdone her father. And then Enzo Amore comes out because he's a certified G and a bona fide stud, and he's pretty much hitting on Sasha big time. I'm pretty sure Mikaze from Up Up Down Down is not going to be happy with that, but yeah, I know. So anyway, Enzo and Jericho have a great exchange with each other. These two guys are just fantastic. And pretty much, and Charlotte also had a huge burn on Enzo, is that when it comes to Enzo's love life, there's only one word to describe him, so that's pretty good. And then Jericho pretty much calls him a hip-hop hobbit, and then Enzo calls him Bon Jovi and all that, and Jericho gets pissed off, and he says, I don't care how anyone is doing, I don't care how you're doing, and all that. He's going crazy. And then Mick Foley decides to come out, and he says, he may not be the boss, but I'm your boss, Jericho, and that I am a certified GM, which I thought was funny. And he makes the match, Chris Jericho and Charlotte versus Enzo Amore and Sasha Banks. And so right after that, we get the match happening, and we get Kevin Owens on commentary because reasons. But yeah, I'm not going to complain. Anytime Kevin Owens is on commentary, it's always good stuff. And yeah, this was a pretty alright tag team match, nothing spectacular. I think Dana Brooke came out during the match and kind of distracted Sasha. Then Charlotte hit the natural selection on her to get the win, and so Jericho and Charlotte win. And then right afterwards, Jericho hits a code breaker on Enzo. I'm guessing there's going to be a match between the two, and he goes to beat up Enzo, and then Big Cass decides to come out, helps out Enzo. Jericho runs off with Charlotte and Dana, lucky fella. And so it's Enzo, Cass, and Sasha still in the ring. And yeah, I can definitely... So I'm guessing later on tonight they talk more about this feud. But yeah, it'd be cool to see what Jericho and Enzo do. I think they could have some great stuff between each other. But I'll get more into detail about that later on. So then we get to the big bad Braun Strowman. Scariest motherfucker ever. And he's taking on this Evan Anderhole, I think his name was. Evan Arsehole, whatever. He pretty much eats his opponent and then shits him out. No problem. So yeah, Braun Strowman picks up a win. After that, Stephanie McMahon and Mick Foley are backstage. She says, good job, Foley, on the mixed tag match you'd booked early in the night. And then Mark Henry decides to show up for some reason because he's the ambassador for the Summer Olympics. Sweet. WWE ambassador. I don't know why WWE needs to have an ambassador at the Summer Olympics, but whatevs. I guess... Was Mark Henry in the Olympics? I don't know. I know he's done some of it, whatever. And, you know, Mark Henry's like, you know what? I want to have one more go. Give me one more go at a run or whatever. And I think it was Mark Henry's like, no. And then Mick Foley's like, alright, we'll give you another go against Rusev for the US title tonight. And Mark Henry's like, alright, I won't let you down and all that stuff. So, yeah. Then we get to the Golden Truth versus the Shining Stars. Beforehand, backstage, R-Truth, this whole storyline, R-Truth is addicted to playing Pokemon Go and all that, and Goldust is like, dude, we have a match coming up, can you get off your phone? It's like, no, I've got a fucking Pidgey, or some shit like that. Of course, due to the Pokemon Go distraction, I think he dropped his phone or something. Primo and Epico, the Flower Sniffers, ended up picking up the win. And Goldust pretty much starts arguing with R-Truth and all that. So we get to Finn Balor finally coming out with Michael Cole, an interview between them, and Cole reminds him that you're a top pick for Raw, and how you've had one of the greatest debuts in Monday Night Raw history. And he's about to say something until the man Seth Rollins comes out, tells Michael Cole, take a hike, and all that. And that he says, look, I know you're a former NXT champion, although I was the first NXT champion, and how you were one of the top picks for Raw, even though I was the number one pick for Raw. You know what? You're kind of like a bad movie remake, like Ghostbusters and all that. So, of course, you have to hammer in those hip and current themes. So, yeah, good job. And he pretty much makes fun of the Atlanta Braves not winning the World Series, you know, typical Heat there. And and then Balor pretty much says that he's watched this show, and I think your laugh in person is even more annoying. Hey, Rollins has an amazing laugh, okay? It is beautiful, and says that he said everyone has been the man, tries to put him in his place, instead he'll take that spot, and all that. So Rollins invites Balor to watch what he does when he takes on Sami Zayn later on in the night, and then he says, Balor says the only thing you'll have handed to him is at SummerSlam is his ass, which was pretty good by Finn Balor. And then they go for a couple of cheap shots on each other, and then Rollins pussies out. So right after that, we end up getting Rusev versus Mark Henry for the United States Championship. And yeah, this was okay. It had two big guys going. I know they've had matches before, Mark Henry and Rusev, and they have alright chemistry with each other. This was a pretty basic match, honestly. You know, Rusev ends up hitting the accolade on him. Henry taps out as soon as it gets locked on, and he retains the US Championship. And after Rusev gets on the microphone, and he's too good, and he's pretty much saying that this guy's gonna represent you at the Olympic Games, and that he says the only reason the American win the games is that they're rigged, and that the Olympic Committee is a bunch of cowards, and that no American deserves a gold medal at the Rio Olympics, and that no man can take his US Championship away from him because he's a natural born winner. That is until
the big top dog,
Roman Reigns. Wow. Who's going after the US title now. Alright. Hey, you know, anything to get him away from the WWE title, I'm more than happy with. So, didn't have a problem with that. He stares down Rusev, just pretty much looks at him. He doesn't say anything, which is good. He pretty much, Reigns pretty much keeps cutting off Rusev every time he tries to leave. And then Reigns just beats the shit out of Rusev, just hits a clothesline, jumps off the steel steps and hits a Superman punch on him, which actually looked pretty cool. So, yeah, I think Rusev and Roman Reigns could have an interesting match at SummerSlam. It's so weird. I'm guessing he's getting punished for his suspension because he's facing the US Championship now, which... Then again, if you think about it the other way, that kind of ups the stakes of the US title. So, yeah, I'm down for it. Why not? So then we get to Darren Young versus Titus O'Neil. The primetime players collide. And so Darren Young's out there with Bob Backlund. And, you know, these two are both faces, you know, having a good match. Until, during the end bit, Titus ended up winning the match by holding his tights to get the win. And then Bob Backlund's like to the ref, oh, come on, what the hell is this? And all that. Pretty much Titus is kind of turning heel, which is very weird. I didn't expect that to happen. So after that match, Stephanie and Mick are still talking with an iPad with the Raw logo slapped over the Apple logo. Sheamus walking up and he's pretty much saying, how come you're giving Mark Henry a championship match and not looking at me? And then Cesaro comes in and says that millions of people in the Cesaro section don't want to see Sheamus, which is very true. And then he says Cesaro wanted to go to SmackDown Live instead of Raw during the draft, which Stephanie doesn't really appreciate. And Foley brings up that Cesaro's shoulder, which has been taped up for like a couple of months, is a big question mark to him, and he wants to know how tough Sheamus is. And so they decide, you know what, since you two are really tough guys, we're going to have you two face each other, and whoever wins will win a future championship match, which is pretty cool. So we get to moving on from back to the Bob Backlund, Titus O'Neil, Darren Young thing. Bob Backlund's yelling at Titus O'Neil, hey, you're a cheater, why did you roll up using the tights? And Titus says, hey man, calm down, do it, please calm down, or I'm going to knock your old ass out. And then Darren Young just hits Titus, tells him, don't you dare talk to my coach like that. And also, we're getting a primetime players explosion kind of match. I think last time Darren Young was the face and Titus O'Neil was the heel as well, so it's pretty much the same thing. So yeah, I guess I can go with that. That seems pretty cool. Then we get to Nia Jax taking on Ariel Monroe. Just like what Braun Strowman did before, she pretty much ate her and shit her out. No problem, and yeah, Nia Jax picks up an easy victory. Then we get to a backstage interview with Sami Zayn. Tom Phillips is pretty much talking to Sami and about his match with Seth Rollins, and he says that Rollins has got a big mouth, just like my former opponent Kevin Owens, and that I had the match of my life with him at Battleground. I did exactly what he said I would do. I'd close my chapter with Owens, and now it's time for me to move on to something bigger. So yeah, good on Sami. So yeah, hopefully he does a good job against Seth Rollins tonight. Then we get to the New Day taking on Gallows and Anderson. And beforehand, when they were walking out, pretty much they got like a banana, and the other two members got like oranges or something. And so they pretty much got like the two oranges together and put the banana in the middle. So I'm like, oh Jesus, talk about a fucking PG show, my goodness. And so everyone tells them, oh, make sure to buy our Booty-O's cereal because I really need the money. So that's what Kofi said. So we get to the match, and the general manager's made up a rule saying that only two members of New Day can come and wrestle Gallows and Anderson. Everyone has to leave the building. So it's Kofi Kingston and Big E all by themselves. They end up beating Gallows and Anderson, which was a bit of a shock. Big E got a roll-up on Anderson to win that match. And then they end up fighting again. Gallows and Anderson end up beating up the New Day. Xavier comes back in, and Gallows hits the running eye knee. They all do their moves on each other, and they do this thing where Big E gets in between the ring post. They grab their legs and just crotch him against it, and so his ball bags are pretty much destroyed at this point. So yeah, hashtag pray for Big E's balls. Then we get to Cesaro versus Sheamus. These guys have really good chemistry with each other. They really have a smash mouth style that I really enjoy. Every time they wrestle, it's very hard hitting, which I really like. And of course, Cesaro ends up winning the match with a neutralizer to getting the win, so he's going to get a future title match down the line, which I'm very excited about. So he didn't, but however, Mick Foley didn't specify what championship he would be facing for. So it might not be for the world title. It could be for the US title. Who knows? So yeah, right after that segment, we get fucking Heath Slater running in, along with Jinder Jinder. Jinder Mahal is back. The Indian legend that we have been praying to see back is with Heath Slater, and so that 2MB is gonna set Monday Night Raw on fire, baby. Mick Foley decides to come out and says, you know what, you do realize that neither of you are actually on the roster. And he says, you know what, I'm going to make a match. Whoever wins between you two will end up getting on the Raw roster. And so they start the match, and pretty much Heath Slater says, you know what, I don't care. We're not going to turn our back on each other. We're going to fart together and all that shit. So they ring the bell. Heath Slater turns around. Jinder Mahal pretty much kicks him in the face, and he gets the win. And so Jinder Mahal is now on the Raw roster. So welcome back. Not that we really missed you or anything, but you know what? Maybe this could be Jinder Mahal's second chance at a shot on the Raw roster. We'll see. We'll see, man. Then we get Chris Jericho with Tom Phillips interviewing him, and he says that how insulting it was for Enzo to make fun of his looks and his scarf, and he calls Cass, a big dumb moron, a stupid idiot, like he calls everyone. And so Tom Phillips asks, who's going to be your partner when you take on Enzo and Cass? And I don't know if it's going to be at SummerSlam, I think, or maybe next week on Raw, who knows. And he says it's going to be Jim and Martha Luda, whoever the hell he is, and says he's the toughest guy west of Winnipeg, which was funny. Then Kevin Owens just comes out for some reason, and that, says, he isn't a real person, right? And he says, you know what? I have your back. So, yeah, so Jericho and Owens teaming up, I'm down for that. They're really funny together, and Jericho's character has been fantastic as of late. So, yeah, put these two together and you can get gold, man. And he says, alright, Tim, I'm going to leave now. And pretty much he says, my name's Tom. Whatever, you stupid idiot. So, yeah, great stuff. Then we get to Sami Zayn versus Seth Rollins. Oh man, great match between these two guys. Very, very fun. How this ended was there was a lot of big spots with each other and reversals and all that. And so he misses a boot attempt in the corner. Rollins hits the pedigree on him, ends up getting the win, which is all good in my books. Then we find out that P. Diddy's going to be on Raw next week. Sick. Then we have, for the final bit of the night, we have Paul Heyman coming out with Brock Lesnar. So the Drago himself comes out, and of course Paul Heyman is he's a god on that microphone. He truly, truly is. And he says the new era needs to step up to Brock Lesnar and all that, and pretty much talks about the new era. And he says that according to Randy Orton, he is one RKO away from beating Lesnar, and he pretty much brings up the Undertaker's undefeated streak. The crowd boos him, and Heyman's like, oh, come on, that was like 2 years ago, get over it. And he brings up his theme song, saying that he hears voices in his head, and he wonders how many times those voices in his head say Lesnar's going to kick his ass at SummerSlam and drag him to Suplex City. And he says, take it from the wise old Jew, Brock Lesnar's going to beat your ass at SummerSlam. And he says there's only one chance for the RKO, and that he isn't man enough to hit an RKO on Lesnar. And then all of a sudden, Randy Orton just fucking teleports somewhere, hits the RKO on Brock Lesnar, and just runs right back into the audience like it was nothing. He just takes off his shirt, he runs. So SmackDown superstar Randy Orton just bolts it. And so Lesnar's like, Alright, he's on the ground, and Orton takes off his shirt and does his pose and everything in the crowd, and that's how we end the show. So, holy shit, man, that was an insane RKO. That literally came out of nowhere when I was watching it. So, yeah, this was a pretty good episode of Raw, man. There was a lot of stuff that definitely led up to SummerSlam. Some stuff I really liked. I thought the Zayn and Rollins matches were quite good. I'm excited for Jericho's and Owens teaming up. That's going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, this was a really good show. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like. Comment down below what you thought of this episode. And if you want to see more from me, hit that subscribe button. You'll be glad you did. Twitter and Instagram is at JackmanLaw31 if you want to check me out there. Also check out the Bullshit Club members, This Edge TV and the 5/8. Their links will be in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and I am out in 3, 2, 1.